To the reader or listener, every other QR code in this book will link to an audio edit of my mother, Rebecca Wheeler, reading and talking about the letters and art. But this one starts with a present and surprise for my mother. The first letter, Frank Jr.'s Waltz, is a song that T.C. Cannon wrote and sent to my mom. So as a surprise, I asked and commissioned my friend and renowned musician Penny Pitchlin, a citizen of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, to put TC's words to song. This video was filmed where TC wrote this song for my mom at his address in 1973 at 1822 Kickingperd Road in Edmond, Oklahoma. His house no longer stands, so Penny took artistic license and filmed inside a drainage pipe at the location. Thank you, Penny, and thank you, reader, for taking the time to read these quite beautiful letters from T.C. Cannon to my mother, Rebecca Wheeler. Thank you.
Waltzing in champagne, I find. She said she started in pain now between the waltz and the wine. Rebecca's in Paris waltzing. Waltzing in time in a paradise time. He still wonders just why she did go. Rebecca's in Paris waltzing. Sits at home all alone. Rebecca's in Paris smiling, and she smiles as if nothing is wrong. Rebecca's in France on a dance floor, dancing to and fro, skipping in time to her heart love in front of some flaming.
Frank Jr.'s Waltz by T.C. Cannon. Rebecca's in Paris dancing. Rebecca's in Paris, I know. Rebecca's in Paris smiling, and somehow we sit all here alone. Rebecca's in Paris dancing, dancing to and fro, skipping in time to her heart love in front of some flaming Van Gogh. One says that she spends her time waltzing. Waltzing and champagne are fine. She says that she's starting to paint now, in between the waltz and the wine. Rebecca's in Paris waltzing, waltzing to and fro, waltzing in time, in a paradise time. He still wonders just why did she go. Rebecca's in Paris waltzing, and he sits at home all alone. Rebecca's in Paris smiling, and she smiles as if nothing is wrong. Rebecca's in France on a dance floor, dancing to and fro, skipping in time to her heart love in front of some flaming Van Gogh. It's very beautiful. And I remember loving that when I got it. I don't think I was dancing to and fro, but I was having a wonderful time. Okay, I was in Paris. Frank was a boyfriend of mine that I told him I'd never fall in love. I'd gotten divorced. I was no way in love with Frank, but Frank knew at the beginning of our relationship I wasn't going to fall in love with him. I didn't want to fall in love with anybody. So TC and I were in a similar position at that time.
Yeah.
And so he knew how TC cared about me, and I just left and gone to Paris without caring about anybody. Just the advertisement. They weren't what you got in the mail, but
Yeah.
I think he did two for me to pick out one. He did one of, I did that one in a photograph of me for art opening, of a photograph of that me on the swings upside down.
Oh, that's you?
That's me,
Oh, really?
and that's a picture.
So these are both you.
Yeah, and Micah had framed these and said, "Oh, you did them really good."
Yeah.
He said, "I had these professionally framed, so
So it's based off of a photo of you.
yeah, that I did for a show. I had a photograph of me like that upside down, and with my hands. I mean, that's the photograph. And then he just, I guess, liked the photograph of me.
Did you give him the photograph, or did you just see it? And...
He just saw it on the opening.
Oh, okay.
You know, that was just
That makes sense.
yeah. So he just had fun.
Yeah, given his style, because it's more abstract and expressive, and that's
Okay,
more
yeah.
accounting.
Okay.
So-
Now, I'll just tell you one more thing. I know that I met him when he came to UCO. I met him in Santa Fe, but he had just started UCO. But I know that he had already gone to IAI because that's where he was a student of Fritz Scholder.
Okay.
And Fritz Scholder and him together had that show at the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
So when I met him when I met him and he was lived in Edmond,
Yeah.
he had already had the show at Smithsonian and he already had Fritz Scholder as a teacher.
Oh.
So that would have been at IAI.
AI.
Yeah, whatever it is. So that's
That
how
makes
I know.
sense. Okay.
So that's how I know only because when I met him, he just had that show at the Smithsonian and gave me his catalog, and I'm sure I still have that too.
That's intriguing. So that's interesting that he came back here to continue like a college education.
Well, it's because he had a good teacher there, Mr. Waldo, and that person saw his talent,
And that drew him in.
Yeah.
To come in.
I think. I'm not sure. 5:30 a.m., September 15th, 1973. Julie, what's her name? Julie Patchouli is gone, Rebecca, as are her chipmunk laughter and Nubian slaves, out there beyond Monet and Van Gogh sunlight, and likewise beyond Pooh Corner. Rebecca, I realize, too stormy and hurricane-like to ever be calm with anything that is too serene and sane. Give me a gun and I'll shoot 24. Oh, good. I'm kind of in the sun where I can see it good. 5:30 a.m., September 15th, 1973. Julie, what's her name? I want to start over already. Okay. It's not what's her name. It's what's her name. What's her name? 5:30 a.m., September 15th, 1973. Julie, what's her name? Julie Patchouli is gone, Rebecca, as are her chipmunk laughter and Nubian slaves, out there beyond Monet and Van Gogh sunlight, and likewise beyond Pooh Corner. Rebecca, I realize, too stormy and hurricane-like to ever be calm with anything that is too serene and sane. Give me a gun and I'll shoot 24 holes in the sky in September, or better yet, don't let me come close to a person that is concerned with their reputation and deeply involved with oranges and green rivers. Julie Patchouli is gone, Rebecca. Her shadow is all that remains this drunken morning, and Jesus is kind to me yet, because I have not really been touched by gluttony and the waves of love. I have not been overzealous in my own quiet way. I have not vigilantly watched all night for pain, but it keeps showing its prized head in the midst of far out solid and right on moments when I am so happy and gleeful. I wonder about my incessant ramblings about kissing and hugging. Do I make myself distant because of these? Do I disappear from people because I have very little to offer in the way of businessmen and flaming fretful laymen? I will not be well and unailing and free from all of this bullshit, from all of this repetitive, constant aching, from new friendships crushed, from very happy appearances and purple singularities, until I am 37 years young. Rebecca, this is not shit. I think that I will go on meeting people and liking them and learning to almost love them and not really telling them I feel for the rest of my drunken life. It is the truth. It is also the truth that I am crying now. But that is a small part of the whole fucking thingamajig. What really matters right now is how in the hell am I going to make it through tomorrow and the next day. But those will be easy. It's the nights that I'm worried about. I'll be sitting here thinking about Matisse, and everyone else will be thinking about their karma, charisma, ego, sex appeal, armpits, clean mouths, disease-free organs, ecology, interest, cooking abilities, and the regular Hollywood fantasies. I, alone, will be baffled by my inadequacy to make someone, anyone, smile anymore, anytime. And do you really want to know something so funny, Rebecca? Perhaps it's the beer or the music, but I really do care. But I'm too scared to tell anyone. If I did, why shit, they'd rent a bulldozer and kill my heart in a second and put a foundation over the bloody mess and build an apartment complex right there on my very caring heart. Rebecca, Julie Patchouli is gone, and I think I was wrong in crying in front of blank. As we move around the seasons, we gather much sweetness and pain. I am young, and I am really not as strong as I put on. I am growing old, sitting here in a drunken stupor. The coming winter will age me immensely, and I will walk with wobbly steps, and I will not be brave anymore, and I won't laugh at myself anywhere. I am intent on being deadly serious about all gentle things. I am bent on being concerned about my mama. I am truly sorry to you and your friends for what I have done. Think of everything you have got and don't worry for me, because it only takes one in this world to care for all of you. And peripherally, I do welcome that the task. But Rebecca, Julie Patchouli is gone. I am sad because of it. I am different because of it. I welcome change, but not this way. Becky, Julie Patchouli is gone away, TC. Okay, this was November 1973, and this is the first letter I received from TC after taking my friends over to his house at Kicking Bird Apartments in Edmond. Dear Rebecca, this is just to tell you that I think that you and your friends are fucked. Somewhere out there in the cosmos, there's this unimportant fucker walking around, and he's eventually made all of you the fuckers. At the edge of your completely tasteless comfort stands a neon sign that says blinkingly, I'm blind and deaf. Send Baskin Woodcuts and Bob Zimmerman records. I am happy because I can smell society's pogroms. Pogroms, not programs. Reluctant Jews even talk about you all the way into the barren Neger desert. Neger Desert.
Niger.
You're gone to the finest schools and all your mamas live next door. You've never even accepted the thought of being hungry because some man with diplomatic maneuvering with led you and your tasteless cancer. All of your secrets are revealed on weekends when your friends surround you and all of you talk incessantly of boring matrimonial mayonnaise. Tight mornings. Why, two of your friends squeeze their hands together and exclaim that their love will never diminish, even over the hottest hamburger grill, or likewise steak sauce. During tomorrow you will not suffer, nor will you have memories of having. Instead, you'll say, "Woo! Gosh, did you see the size of that sunset?" Someone will say, "No, but with the price of items from tax-deductive organizations, how can you expect me to notice an ephemeral sunset?" And sometimes you'll wonder that maybe something is really going on somewhere outside of your perimeter, but you don't know what it is. I think that most of you are in there for the fast buck and never really see God or highways. You never even hear music. If you do, you talk through the evening and pretend to be Gertrude Stein with a slow cancer. I'll never decay. Decay is when something has stopped living but hasn't died yet, like looking at your leg and seeing it covered with creeping brown cancer. Decay turns my insides to brown paper. It turns me off. I'll die first before I decay. TC. No RSVP ever required. But this was the only letter I ever got like this, and it was the first letter. And I think my girlfriends and me went over there, and they were very talkative, but not about anything.
Yeah.
And so it was that kind of night. And it didn't mean he didn't become friends with those people just like me. But a few of them were very shallow. I remember one of my friends that was very shallow, and that's the one he's probably talking about mainly. Except we were just young girls, chatting. And he didn't enjoy the evening, I'm sure. Obviously, he didn't enjoy the evening.
Do you remember getting that letter?
Oh, yeah, and I agreed with it.
Do you remember how you felt when you got it?
I felt like he was right.
Because it's a very honestly blunt letter, but it's not rude or.
No, I just agreed with the way he felt.
Yeah.
We were just dumb young girls. I don't think I was to him, but my friends, Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I took the wrong girls over there. We were out to party and have fun and drink beer, and he happened to be part of it, and he didn't. It wasn't what he wanted to do. Be around stupid people.
Yeah.
I think from UCO, and that's a piece I already did for me.
I think it says 76.
Yeah, because we both liked horses, and I rode horses.
Do you know who B. Boyd is?
I'm sure it's an old blues player, but I don't know. Was that the name of the one that he wrote that I don't give a heck or something?
Oh, the one that was on the back of the.
Yeah, it might be the same one. No, that's another person.
Toy
Caldwell. But I think they were both blues people, not unless they were poets or something.
From 1935, so it was a while ago.
Yeah, that's why I think it was blues.
Oh, give me a horse.
Yeah, I remember that first line.
Oh, great big horse, and give me a buckaroo, and let me wahoo, wahoo, wahoo. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good verse.
Yeah. So he liked it. I know that I never saw him read, but I know that he had read every book in the world because he was too educated in words.
You think is that Scotch tape?
It looks like it.
Yeah.
That's just the way.
They're
A
really
little smudging around it.
Yeah.
That he had tons of those books that he did drawings in and writings in, and I don't know if they were someone. And more than one person said when he passed away, somebody, he ransacked his house and took things. And so I don't know if they took his black books,
his
they were
sketchbooks.
sketchbooks. I'm sure these are out of a sketchbook.
Yeah.
See, it's torn.
That's totally torn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting. And he was a great man.
Yeah.
And that's when I lived on Broome Street in New York. And he came to visit me once, and I told you we got to ride in a limousine. He picked me up in a limousine in Soho, and we were real excited because he had never driven in a limousine. And we went to Central Park to see John Lennon's round circle of strawberry fields or something. And I he wanted me to take pictures of him in the park. And I took pictures, but they didn't turn out very good. He didn't like them either. So they probably disappeared totally because they weren't good of him. And then we went to the Auerbach Museum. The gallery. And he took me there to meet the guys and stuff, one of the Auerbachs. And he was real proud.
Yeah.
And proud of them showing his work and proud to introduce me and excited to drive in a limousine to pick me up in the artist community.
Yeah, just like picking up a fellow Okie.
Yeah, it was exciting. Yeah.
New York scene.
Yeah.
It was exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome home, friend. Hope you had fun in the Windy City. And I'm sure that's it, was going to that convention. Hell, what am I saying? No, you did. Unless Ginsburg or whoever is indicating, as you are always one to make it fun no matter what the situation was. I'll just take it for granted that you enjoyed yourself immensely, which I did, because I rode the train. I'd never ridden a train that far. Well, if you're really wanting to know what has been going on with me, With me, I don't know. As it stands, for everything looks good. She has started calling me honey again, and I'm scared as hell, and it's scared as hell. It's been a long time since I've ever felt real deep emotion for someone. The last time was with her. I can't keep track. And now it comes around again. Shit, what can a single human being want? We've already started talking about the far future and growing old together. Still, I'm scared as hell because I'm afraid I'll let my jealousy, possessiveness creep back into the picture and blow it all. And if I blow it this time, I know for sure that I will die. Really die. I love her so much, it makes me feel really strong again. Of all the chicks that I've shared company with since she's been gone, yourself, Rainbow, Terry, Christy, Debbie, Phyllis, Julie, Catherine, etc. I liked you the best because you've been the best friend anyone could want, especially the insight and understanding that you have. That's sweet of him. Not mentioning the continuous bullshit that you've had to put up with off and on. With him, you've had to put up off and on. I really appreciate your patience and love. Maybe in the future you can help save my life again. It could happen, Tonight it is starting to thunder loudly. Rain is falling ever more swiftly. Right now I'm going upstairs and finish my new painting. I was Bogey, that was his cat's name. I wish Bogey knew, I can't read, that Elizabeth, that was the girl I told you that was the only love he ever had, who must have broken up with him, was with me again. Maybe he'd come home. I guess Bogey would come home.
Maybe he ran away.
Maybe so. We didn't keep these cats long. They must have both ran away. So Elizabeth was the only girl he ever spoke about that he loved. And I think she was probably very beautiful with long black hair.
Yeah, hope you had fun.
Maybe I went to the Windy City. I went on a train. I just remembered. I went to Chicago for an art convention of young artists. And my boyfriend up there was, oh gosh, who's the gay poet that was always one of the main poets? And I went to a poetry reading with my friends in New York. I was the only woman there at that, too. I can't think of his name. He was a big guy, and he was always the best poet.
Allen Ginsberg?
Yeah. And I was going out in Chicago with his nephew.
You went with Allen Ginsberg's nephew?
Yeah. And he was doing art then of, and I can't remember his name, but Allen Ginsberg's nephew was doing raw, like cow meat hanging down.
Huh.
It was gross. But that was, new,
Yeah.
to have meat raw
Yeah.
hanging, just like in a meat factory. So it was a bunch of wild, crazy artists.
I bet so.
And I don't think we were there for jobs. I think it was just a thing. I really can't remember. I think that was my cat. Because it looks like the kind of bed I would have.
Do you think it's the same cat that's in that?
No, they're brother and sister cats. They were babies. I thought a bunch last night. And I thought, I know mine was the white cat and it was just with the black cat. But then he put his black cat in that picture.
In your lap.
Yeah.
The wicker chair.
But I would keep his cats. He would take care of my cat. And I don't remember either one of us having those cats long, and I can't remember their names. I haven't read these letters in years. I read a few of them just because I read that first and it made me laugh. Okay, this was April 70, 1974. Dearest Becky, by the time you get this, I'll be in Colorado doing something profoundly ridiculous and absurd. Wish me luck on my odyssey of art. Also, and most important, I plan to get back to OCU sometime Friday. But, just in case something comes up and I'm detained by a few hours, you and Elizabeth have a chance to get together by yourselves. I'm supposed to pick her up Friday evening, but if I can't, maybe you can! ! I could afford you an opportunity unequaled by none before. Her schedule for the weekend, she will be riding with a woman from Shawnee, so she will go back Friday night if I can pick her up. Friday 26th, all day, Holiday Inn West, Oklahoma Association for Retarded Children. Friday the 26th, at 7 till 9, she'll be at the Trade Winds, I-40 and Eastern. If I'm not back by this time, maybe you can pick her up and keep her safe at your house till I come and claim her. If something happens to me, I'd appreciate your help and consolation in this matter. I appreciate your attention and patience on the phone that I just hung up. I appreciate your friendship more than I do all of my male friends. Shit far. I appreciate you. God bless you, Becky. Goodbye for a while. TC. P.S. My Fort Collins, Colorado phone number will be area code 303-484-1984 or 482-5442. And I have no idea what he did in Colorado. But he says it's something profoundly ridiculous and absurd.
In 74.
And see, he never met up with Elizabeth. Maybe he didn't get back. Or maybe she didn't want me to take her anywhere. She was probably busy with this convention of some kind of children. So I do not remember. I'm sure I never took any more. I know I didn't take her to TC or anything. Maybe he wasn't back. Maybe he just wanted me to meet her. Maybe she couldn't go see him, or maybe she didn't want to. I don't know. I hope I can read things and not. Dearest Becky and Blossom and Michael Merchant, June 6, 1974. In the affairs of man, there are times for joy, pretty songs, and nights of felicity, ringing loud and unselfishly. At other times, unfortunately, things can go awry, and somebody can find that time itself is their foe, and it treats them heartlessly without pity or compassion. There is no such thing as an invulnerable heart, either yours or mine or any one of the million walking around on the face of this small planet. Sometimes we alone are the only ones who are disturbed by distortions, such as war, hate, and love. And this whole kettle of humanity, for the lack of a better word, I say humanity, we boil alone. Rare or well done, we do it alone, regardless of numerous friends or acquaintances, pets, material goods, wealth, poverty, or any of those things that any of us possess or think we possess. What I'm trying to say is that anything any of us we do completely alone. Mother and fathers, wives and lovers, sons and daughters, they are all completely alien and apart from that one individual heart that beats in a different tempo in the different body which somehow we inhabit through our mortal phase of existence. And in each of our mortal bodies arise decisions that somehow seem contradictory to those aforementioned friends and acquaintances. These decisions are sometimes glib and selfish, sometimes astute and civilized, sometimes come in flashes of anger, the midst of passion, or slowly after long and careful study. Nevertheless, our decisions, revocable or irrevocable, they have the essence of being made at one time in a life. One grace of decisions is that they are unique. Changing them means nothing. In the past 27 years of my short and uneventful life, I alone have made a decision almost every single day. Most seldom stand the length of that particular day. Maybe that is why I make so many insubstantial decisions. My daily ride in life consists of too much fantasy and not enough respect for people who happen to be my friends or acquaintances. Perhaps I am at times too Disney-ish for my own good. I go through this particular life slashing and tearing, building and loving, spreading myself ever more thinly in the process of living. If I were truly ambitious, I would realize that I have too much to do. If I were truly proselytizing, I would convert all of you away from me for your own sake. Maybe that is what I am trying to do in some way in these green months of 1974. You see, my particular stigma was born from many years of learning and watching. If my stigma has hurt any of you in a way that can't quite understand, then I urge all of you to pay closer attention to life itself. Take a long and deep look into the darkest night. Approach unintelligible conversations with caution and curiosity. Cry whenever you're hurt and strike out when someone deserves it. Limit yourself in love and you only limit the good grace of yourself. Striking out is the most equatable measure of love sometimes. I guess I have known you both for about a year and a half. Of all people in Oklahoma, I guess I love both of you the most. At times I've loved both quiet openly, but from what I hear and what I know, I have made you my whipping post maliciously and murderingly. No one has ever heard me apologize, but I attempt to break the precedent and tell you that I am sorry for my intimidating swagger and pugnacious vernacular. I apologize for making your loved friends quite uncomfortable and tearful. I guess I apologize most for putting our friendships on the line as if it was a dime a dozen. If I was a more wise personage, it wouldn't have been that way at all. But, to tell the truth, it probably wouldn't have been as exciting. Anyway, it all comes down to dust. Soon we will be entering a new phase of manhood or womanhood. In that particular phase of our short lives, we will have it to do without each other. You without me, and I without you. Fewer beer cans to throw out in the morning. Fewer songs to play and sing. More time for yourselves. A quieter telephone. No more bleeding heart stories that parallel your own. One less car parked in your driveways. When it all comes down to dust, which means tonight, as I write this, please believe that I am not sad or in any type of bondage if it's a self-pity. To tell you the truth, I'm quite exuberant about being alive tonight. I'm so glad that you both finally got the most meet Elizabeth and see her and meet her. You will probably see her again and again, but that is no longer any concern of mine. I am completely satisfied with what I know now, what I know, and what I have to do. What I have to do from here on doesn't in any way have anything to do with loving another human being or wanting to be loved. It is different from that. It consists entirely of art and art and art. By that, I mean music, painting, drawing, poetry, art, and more art. It means living out there on the western slope of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains and smelling that smoke in winter, watching my people dance in the pueblos, sing the things I never recognized as a young man, moving around in the snow and watching stars, writing songs that I had never been able to until now, having the opportunity of being alive and new without ties and relationships, trying to forget the pain. Sincerely, TC. Beautiful letter. Beautiful letter. Makes me cry. Okay, this was written a long time ago because I lived on May and Grand, and my name was Petrie, my first husband's last name, that went to Vietnam. And came back never the same.
Can you see the drawing?
It's just a picture of him walking in the world outside what he loved, I guess, the clouds, and walking forward.
There's a line in the first paragraph that really struck me. We boil alone.
Uh-huh.
It was like such a great, and I feel like I could be like the title of a book.
Yeah, really. You're exactly right, Gabriel. They're beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah.
This one is especially beautiful to read. It's who he was, who he is.
I noticed he included a very traditional looking structure right there.
Yeah.
In the corner, it's like an adobe structure.
Yeah.
The wood posts.
It's also interesting how much, like, you know, you could tell he put a lot of effort into his little drawing. It's a doodle, but it's, you know, but then his signature is like,
Yeah.
he didn't even take the time to like make sure like the ink got onto the page.
And he always made a joke that all those magic marker pens wouldn't last and they'd fade away.
This is where we're at. It's
And just so you know, Michael Merchant, His mom was head of the arts education for the Oklahoma City Public Schools, and she directed me a lot because she was 40 and I was probably 20.
Yeah.
And she and I went to Santa Fe, and her son, Mike Merchant, and TC somehow had got connected. So they were friends. He was a friend from Oklahoma when he still lived in Oklahoma. Okay, here we go. And this is an early letter. 11th of July, 1974. Dearest Rebecca Petrie, how is my buddy? It sounds like you are doing quite well and enjoying the things that I hope to enjoy in a couple of years. Out Saturday night. Went to the phone booth where a couple of hippie chicks tried to pick me up and take me home with them, but I told them I wasn't that kind of guy. We drank a couple of beers together, and then I went to the Paradise Ballroom where it was hot, muggy, and dark. Everyone shook my hand and told me that they were glad to see that I was out of hibernation and all that shit. I stood there and sipped my free beer until my eyes got accustomed to the darkness, and I looked across the faces of the 20 or so people inhabiting the place. Needless to say, it was a quiet Saturday night with only local talent performing. Anyway, I was gazing across the small mass of humanity. Who should I spot but Jenny Curtis, gulping beer up close to the stage. I went over and we had a good time talking, and she said she really liked the guy singing the songs on stage, and since he was a buddy of mine, she invited us over to her house where we drank and smoked her smoke. After Jenny passed out under the coffee table with my friends and I left, we had a good time. We talked about you. Also, Lynn actually spoke and smiled once in a while. I didn't go to the Willie Nelson thing after telling everyone else I'd got to go. Well, they all went, and I stayed here and painted and wrote poems all by myself. It was a good time, just me and my canvas and my music. I am strong again, and I don't think ever to be weak again. I feel good about the world somehow, which is a difficult thing to feel in these particular times. People are really nice to me nowadays here. Things are starting to fall into place now that I never thought would come to be. I have been having great times in love lately. Also, my art is starting to create me instead of me creating it. It seems to wake me up and say, why don't we do this today, TC? I am genuinely anxious about leaving here for the mountains. I don't know exactly what I'll find when I get there, but I am willing to take the chance. I guess I miss all of you people out there, and I'll think a lot about things that have happened back in Oklahoma, but maybe that's the way I want it. Maybe that is what Vincent and Gauguin said to us with a tiny tear or heartache that won't be unnoticed by the art critics of their time. Still, I worry about spending next winter alone and thinking about it all. Next winter will be beautiful and terrible time, I think. I'll make it beautiful, I think. Santa Fe will be my saving grace or at my end. After all I've gone through since before I knew you or those people we met together, I think that maybe I can make you jealous of me, just like I'm terribly jealous of you by being in Paris. Maybe in the far future, you may be jealous of me for something or somewhere I am doing. Maybe it'll be in the mountains of New Mexico or in some desolate kibbutz in Israel. Maybe you'll never be jealous of anything except yourself and your art. That above all is and should be your driving force. People don't matter that much at times. I'm not demeaning humanity, but sometimes it just gets to the point that we stand up or fall, and I think that you and I are two of the best examples of that particular philosophy. You are a strong little woman, yet so fragile at times, but since I've known you and you're grown out of that brittleness, and I've seen you mature day by day, when you come back, you will be stronger and better because of it all. In some way, I wish I could be able to spend more time with you and let you tell me about it. By that time, I'll probably be gone. But just in case you ever want to tell me anything about anything, I will be located on the west slope of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, west of Blossom, south of Marcia, north of Albuquerque, east of Jemez Springs, and pretty near to the heart of some rustic paradise. Oh yes, I wrote a song for you last night. Please understand that this song has nothing to do with trying to make anyone do or think or feel guilty. The song is simply a song, nothing more or less. It doesn't preach, it's only music. All my love, TC. Beautiful. God, I just,
Got a soundtrack in there too.
yeah.
That's an interesting letter because it was like much more like what you would imagine most letters to be like. This is happening. This is like the new thing. This is what's about to happen.
Yeah. And can you believe my same best friends were his close friends? Jenny Curtis is still one of my very best friends. She and TC always liked each other. She was funny. She was gay. She loved TC, and he loved her. And she was in his likable group,
Yeah.
lovable group. And you can see why.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Marcia is Marcia Tammy.
Yeah.
He loved Marcia, and he wasn't even around her hardly.
Right.
Because she moved to New York and lived there her whole life. She and I moved there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a pretty letter too. Okay, this is July 29th, 74. Rebecca, I just got back to Santa Fe after spending 5 days at Grand Lake, Colorado. Sure didn't want to leave there. I'm still looking for a house here, but I haven't found one as yet. Jean and Susan Auerbach, me here, and I have a Demish. I can't read his writing. Can you read that?
Have a dismal. I don't know what it says.
Okay. With them tomorrow evening. I'm sure it's something nice because he was going to see the Auerbachs. It's really nice here with a great sun and occasional showers. I hope to find a house soon, but because I even hate to go back to Oklahoma and pack for the return trip out here, I have to go back Wednesday morning to finish up my final list of the Pickard show. If anything works out all right, I think I'll stay here in the mountains forever. Something about the air and sky here makes me feel closer to some great unknown and awesome power. If things don't turn out, I'll probably stop painting and join the
Haganah? I have no idea what that is.
I don't either. I hope you're still having fun over there. I think about you often, miss you. We'll have to throw a big one when you get back to the rednecks and Indians. When you all get back, you'll have to take a few days off and drive up to Grand Lake. Some is neat up here. Sure is neat up here. I might move up here if things don't work out down here. Long line. All that before become a soldier again. Well, it's getting dark here, and so I'm going to go out for a couple of 6-packs and sit down out on the patio and watch the stars come out. Take care and come back to us safe and sound and sing. Sincerely, TC. And that's where he does the Jewish star. The Auerbachs were his, I don't know the word,
Their agent?
they supported him. He didn't have to work because they supported his paintings, and that was his gallery in New York City. And they were Jewish, and he loved them. But Gene Auerbach had the largest music publishing company in the world. And I think he liked Susan, and she liked him, his wife. And he took me to meet him in New York. That's when we had the limousine, because they given him a limousine to drive around. So they were really special to him. They were, what would you call that? Like in the old days when somebody is...
Like a benefactor.
He produced for them, and anything he needed, they got for him.
Yeah.
They paid for his paint. They paid for his everything.
It's like when you have like a court painter or something that would just like live on the grounds, and then they would just be like available.
Yeah.
You know?
They were there.
Like
They
Hugo
knew he was
Velasquez.
going to be famous. They helped him become famous. And Gene Auerbach sold his paintings all over the world. Probably, because I know I went to Paris once, I told you, to see his work. He wanted me to go. So anyway, he was I'm sure he had a wonderful time with them. They probably invited him to Grand Lake, Colorado. Okay, so this is August 9th, 1974, Oklahoma. Dearest Rebecca Petrie, I've just driven back from OKC, and it's late or early, and I'm listening to KEBC. I just talked to the Hawk DJ, and we both agreed to get together tomorrow night and smoke up. Right now, the land around here is dry, but sprinkles are falling outside my glass doors, and some strange kitty cat is asleep at my feet. It just walked in a while ago and went to sleep. It seems to be a most beautiful kitty cat with its own way about it. I dare not question why it chose to sleep here tonight. I had a great time on my southwestern trip in Nuevo, Mexico, and Colorado alike. I had dinner with Gene and Susan Auerbach last week in Tasuki. We talked about art and artists. I found out that Gene and Susan have been friends of Osorio for years, and when I go to New York in October, I have a strong chance of meeting him. Save your money just in case you want to go. Also, I have some terribly sad news of Botero, but I'll have to tell you in person. It is that type of sadness that one shouldn't experience alone. Somehow you should have someone there who is at least acquainted with the situation. It is that type of news that my rights I shouldn't even be disclosing. Anyway, you can lean on my shoulder when I tell you. Other than hurt, all I have to say is that I'm doing fine. Hurry up and come home, because we all miss you so. Much love. P.S. Picture of Van Gogh, and he says, with the exception of Susan Valadon, Becky Petrie is the most important living woman artist. Sweet. That's very sweet.
He didn't sign this one.
Yeah, much
Just says
love.
much love.
Yeah.
Onto the, well, I guess.
Okay,
The Van
this
Gogh?
one.
Should fold it shut, right? So
This one was when he still lived at Kicking Bird Road Apartments in Edmond, Oklahoma. And my friend Frank Harris and I I think we jumped on a bus and went to school in San Francisco at San Francisco Art Institute.
Mhm.
And we lived at 312 Mason Street, which was in the Tenderloin, is where I lived. And I would call my parents and from the payphone and say, hi, you know, oh, I'm staying at a place that the school let you, just like what you stayed at probably.
Yeah.
This was like really the Tenderloin, but I wasn't scared. You got your sheets through the windows. So anyway, he was in Edmond, and I had gone to San Francisco to study with Carol Summers, that was a printmaker. Look, they wrote down room 308 to get that to us.
I feel like I wrote Oklahoma.
Yeah, I like that too. He called the Cowboy Hall of Fame the Cowboy Hall of Shame. And then they had a show for him right after he died.
Yeah.
So weird. I was so traumatized to go to a show after he had died that I bled. I fell and cut my leg, and it was blood. It seemed apropos that I was bleeding. It was open. Really bleeding bad down my leg.
It was just a couple weeks later.
Well, I guess I wrote him a letter.
Really? How do you
Well,
know?
Rebecca, received your most welcome letter this afternoon and realized that I should answer as soon as possible in order for this to reach you before your departure. As you astutely deduced in your letter, this place is quiet, boring, and hardly tenable. I've been staying home a lot, but have been to Anadarko to see the Indians exposition. Frank went with me a couple of times. He bought a shirt and enjoyed the dances. He's never brought your name up once. No telling how he feels. It is totally secretive about his heart and dreams. The last few days have found me finishing the last 10 drawings for the Pickard show. I think the drawings are the best I've done in a long time. I don't foresee any great sales taking place during the show. I don't foresee anything great from the show except that I at least had the opportunity to fuck with the Oklahoma art world circle. It's true. And that's when Jenny Curtis bought one of his nice pieces.
From the show he's talking about.
Yeah, and my parents, I didn't have any money, but my parents loved his work and bought it for me, the one that's in
This,
the...
the ones above my TV.
Yeah, they were all on colored paper, all of them in paintings. But I noticed, and Ron noticed too, that painting's fading because there's too much light in there, the lavender part of it.
Am I?
You need to put it where there's not sun hitting it.
Oh.
And
Okay.
it's still mine. But you can borrow it.
I'm just holding it for you.
I know, I like it in your house, but that sun will, we noticed it was getting to it
Okay.
already. I'm sorry to interrupt the letter. The show is scheduled to open on Saturday, September 7th. You will miss the fiesta altogether because it will take place a week before you get back. A boat ride is better than fiesta anyway. I plan to leave Oklahoma next Wednesday for New Mexico, and by the time you get this, I should be gone. I'm going to store my belongings here until after I come back for the opening, when I plan to move all the things out west. I have to go out early and find a house during Fiesta because that's when the opera company leaves and a lot of good places open up. I can't wait to get out there and settle down. I think and hope that this will be a beginning of a long and fruitful journey for me. Barring any catastrophe, I plan to touch all bases in the future, hopefully worldwide. I send my love and best wishes for a safe trip home. Hope to see you soon, your friend T.C. Cameron. And I was coming home from a boat from Paris because my mother wrote me a letter and said it was the last trip of the SS France to America.
Oh,
And she said it'll be cheaper than an airplane ticket because I bought a one-way ticket, thought I was thinking I was going to live there forever. And so I did that, and that's why he was saying the boat ride.
yeah, that's wonderful.
And it was one of the most interesting experiences I've ever had. I got to sit at a table every night with Isidore Duncan's brother and his wife. The dance. She was a famous dancer,
Oh, okay.
and they had a little museum in Paris that I had been to, but they were just interesting
Yeah.
because she was a.
How long did it take? Like a week?
You know, I have no idea. I just remember I loved every minute of it because
Yeah.
I sat at the table with such interesting
Yeah.
people that were older than me and had such good stories.
That sounds great.
One
I
man,
want to do that.
yeah, one man that sat at the table that I became very close friends with and would still be with him in New York and go out and have a drink with him. He was at my table, and he said he had to put out through Washington that John F. Kennedy had died through the. Oh, okay, here we go. I don't really need to talk about myself because I kind of connect with. Okay, this one is another 1974 one. September 24th, 1974.
A month later.
Dearest Rebecca, I'm writing this while you are soundly asleep on the prairie. I'm ready for bed and dead tired after the affairs of the day. I feel most beautiful and happy here in my hillside home beneath this spectacular skyway. The stars here are much closer and amazingly real. From my portal, I can see for 50 miles, and so I sit here and watch it rain, autumn showers on the Ortiz Mountains and beyond. The nearest house is far down the hill, and it's quiet and lovely here in the midst of pinyon trees and God. My friends here are trying to make me forget all of you, and they are succeeding with the exception of you. I miss you most of all, and probably always will. You're a pretty damn good buddy, and I'll always remember things, small things that you've probably already forgotten. I'll be the keeper of those memories that have gone from you. I'll also be the keeper of this place in the faraway mountains in case you should hope lose your place there on the prairie. As long as I'm financially secure of you, a home with me here. Shit, you'd go all creativity. Shit, you'd go all creatively insane here. I have to go now. I have to fly to Washington, D.C. tomorrow morning for a confrontation with the conventions of the BIA. It's going to be dull but exciting too. Please come out soon and bring Frank Jr.'s admirer with you, Lynn. I sure do like that little filly. We can sit up all night and drink and sing, and get to be good friends in the mountains. Also, as a discreet favor, call Martha Mobley, 236-3347, and kind of suggest my address with appropriate suggestions that I really did dig her. All of this being confidential between you and I. Love you, Rebecca. Hurry and come home, TC. September 29th, 1974, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Dearest Rebecca, here are the designs for the poster. I really can't decide on one myself. Maybe if you have the finances available, you could use both of them. That would be unusual and beautiful. However, if you don't wish to use either one of them, I can understand one person's art is one person, and never the twain shall meet is just juxtaposing it with another's. I hope you can use one or both. I'm still in the midst of painting my kitchen and living room. I should be settled in by this weekend. I love my place so much. It's quiet, and I live without conversation with other people by my own choosing. The nights are cold, and the days are warm. I'm home again. Sincerely, TC. That's when he had done those 2 drawings for a show.
So, Mom, did you like actually sit for this drawing?
No, I think I just said, he said, I'll do it, your invitation. And I said, sure, if you want to. And I was probably in Oklahoma, and he was probably in New Mexico. And so he sent 2 of them and said, pick which one you like, or if you don't like either one of them. So he was even insecure to say if you don't like either one of them.
So was it an invitation for your show or his show?
It was my show,
Okay.
or one show I did, but he said, I'll do the drawing for it. And I said, sure, go for it. Yeah, I did it.
So I'd imagine that TC Cannon probably just like would get impressions of an image
Yeah.
or a style or
Yeah.
like a view of you sitting in a chair.
Right, because
Right.
your boobs
And then-
weren't outside your shirt.
No, of course not. And they weren't droopy either.
But then he would just like,
They weren't droopy at that age. I hardly had them.
but then he'd take that and just start like turning that into a composition based on like, the impressions. And I think it's just like, I mean, models are different and like references are different, but I don't
Yeah.
imagine it's just a straight replication
Right.
of the image. So that's kind of like probably what this, why it's like,
Yeah.
doesn't quite look like you or
Yeah.
doesn't quite
No,
look
it
like,
doesn't. No.
but it's meant to be almost like an expression of an element of you that I think
Right.
TC Cannon was catching.
And he and I both had chairs like this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one wicker chair that he sits in all the time that's lower than this
Yeah.
in his paintings of himself.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And I know that was my white wicker chair. He didn't have any white wicker chairs. He would use that chair over and over again of him sitting in a white wicker chair.
Oh, he would. So,
Use my chair.
but he
'cause he liked
didn't
the chair.
have your chair, did he? Or-
No, it was
he
in my
just-
house, but
He
we
just
had,
liked the look of it.
I guess he would always sit in it when he came over to my house. Boy, he was really into writing letters in 74.
What's the date on this one?
The 5th of October,
So that-
1974.
That's only like less than 2 weeks after the last letter.
Yeah.
was-
I think it's because he had moved and he was excited, and so I didn't see him as much because he had moved to New Mexico.
Yeah.
So maybe this is when he first moved. And I still lived at May and Grand. That's weird. October 5th, 74, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Dearest Rebecca, just sitting here listening to Bob Wells and the Texas Playboys and drifting softly around in my mind to places I've been and people I've met there. I guess that from now on, I'll always be a wanderer. If not on the road or skyway aboard a plane, then at least in my own mind. I definitely plan to make this place my home, but already I want to travel somewhere and do things and meet new friends. I'm tired of the United States. I've hitched across the states twice, been to all the prime spots, and all but now I want to do something else. I'm all mixed up about this strange urge to go somewhere. I feel so powerful and alone. I don't particularly care if I become unpowerful, as long as I stay alone. For the last year in Oklahoma, I was around too much and too many people. I couldn't grow. Now I'm feeling growth and maturity unmeasurable. I'm sure I will be different the next time we meet, and it will not be because I want it that way, but just because something strange has happened to me. Something exciting is going on out there somewhere. I want to be a participant of the harmony. Yours, TC. P.S. I think I will fly in for your opening, but don't tell anyone. Write and give me the particular date. Um, 21st of October, 1974, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Dear Rebecca, now you know! Exclamation point. Now you have had a glimpse of my newfound, rekindled happiness and you have no reason to doubt my softer and peaceful attitudes if heaven and hell and the people that dwell between. No longer the intimidating and demanding instigator. I plan to be the quiet and serene art, music, sky-watching person that I lost somewhere a long time ago between women in some distant war-torn land. I used to be nice to people and God a long time ago. I think I'm getting back to that tenable position once again. I am so thankful that I was granted this second chance. Let me take this opportunity to thank you and Patricia for such a great time. This is when I very first met him in Santa Fe. I went with the art education teacher for the public schools to Santa Fe, and her son and TC had gone together to Santa Fe, so we met him at a party. It was so good sitting and talking out in the Entrada room that evening. See, that was me and him. We sat outside this room that evening drinking Dos Equis and listening to music. I learned a lot. I doubt for me, but I remember that's when I had deep conversations with him. Everyone here, Michael, Sarah, Dick, Debbie, Tony, Kathy, and the Biss, enjoyed you both immensely. They want you to come back. This week I plan to finish the living room. That's where I'm writing this now. It's quiet and the stars are glorious as usual. The fireplace is crackling softly in oranges, deep reds, and purples. Tomorrow I have to get my studio across town, clean off the excess forms of the portal, and put the banjo back together. Wednesday, Dick and I are going to set some more adobe on his bedroom extension. It should eventually end up like a room wherein we drank champagne at Tony and Kathy's. We also have to fix the dune buggy. After one wreck the other evening, there's just so much to do in this place where I dwell. I do it. Hope to see you soon. I had a lover. I don't think I'll risk another these days. Responds, regards, TC. Who wrote that song?
I had a lover. I don't think I'll risk another.
Yeah, that's some song.
Are you ready for the next letter? It looks pretty short and easy. So this was probably part of another letter, but I couldn't figure out where it would have gone to because it
might not have been because
it doesn't fit any, like there's no piece of paper. I don't remember finding any paper that matches that.
He folded it 3 times,
Yeah.
this and
Yeah,
this.
so it might have been like an afterthought to another letter. So this is just a free floater.
Yeah. Dear Rebecca, this is for who's. Doo-doo. In case he goes in the car. Plus, it's another insult to Gracemont. Thanks for being my friend. P.S. I'm not really as bad as people want to make it. TC.
So that's Blossom?
Yeah, she probably doo-dooed his house or something. I'm assuming.
Inspiration from anywhere.
Yeah. He did a really good job getting like the hunch of a little dog.
That's observation.
Yeah, and it looks just like Blossom. She's a little black kind of chihuahua.
That's why I put the stink lines on the word doo-doo.
Yeah.
With little waves on the top of it.
Yeah, it looks like that might even be like some doo-doo stain right there.
Well, that's what it kind of says. It says your dog can doo-doo on this, doesn't it?
Goes in the car, pluses on it.
I thought it said something like you can use this for the doo-doo.
Yeah, I got that impression too, right? This is for it.
This is so fun to read these letters because I really haven't read them since he sent them to me because they were too hard to read.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't talk about him for years when these people were writing books. They'd come by and I'd just say, I'm not ready to talk about him. You know, I didn't want to be the talker about who he was.
Yeah.
I just was quiet.
It's also different, right? Like they're approaching you looking for some kind of like factual historical information, but
or just to know something. Just like when Gabriel and he was so young, and I said, "Do you want to go with me down to Anadarko to my friend's some kind of thing, sculpture?" And Gable said, Mom, why aren't you walking up with all the people that getting their picture taken that were friends of his? And I said, I just don't want to, Gable. I didn't want to be in a group of people in a picture. I had to be alone with him as a friend.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's why this works, because like it is you just like connecting, reconnecting.
Yeah, it's definitely
With-
reconnecting.
And obviously, when he wrote these letters, he wasn't trying to write to everybody. He was just writing to you.
Yeah,
You know, and it was meant to be for your eyes. was
yeah.
meant to be
It
for
hurts
your-
my heart, but I love them. They're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
But I haven't
You
read
know
them.
the doo-doo one.
When I put this book together, I didn't even read them. This is July 14th, 1974. He sent me this because something reminded him of me, but it's Peggy Guggenheim on the terrace of Venetian Palazzo shortly after she acquired her home museum a quarter of a century ago. And what he's written down, underlined, is the words seem to sidle from her mouth and hover in the air as though enclosed within cartoon balloons. And then he said, I don't think they like me because they don't like modern art. That's what they must have said about her. And this one, he's underlined, it's rather fun inventing space. The only trouble is that Venice may be sinking and the Venetians naturally haven't decided what to do about it. And that's in July 14th, 74. And it says, this photograph reminded me of the poster for Old Softies. That was one of those pictures he did of mine for a catalog, for a poster,
Oh, yeah.
for a show. Oh, because I have a dog in my arms, I bet. Yeah, that could be easily it because of the dog in the pictures of Old Softies. Oh, that's just a small thing about this. Rebecca, I thought you might like this. I found it in a pile of newspapers in the basement of the Fine Arts Museum tonight while drawing. You have to get some glasses like hers. Double exclamation points. T.C. Cannon.
I think he just sent that by itself.
Yeah, see. Thought you might like this. I found it in the pile of newspapers.
It's funny.
Dear Rebecca, I guess that this time you're tired of hearing from me, but I just received the poster today and I had to write, drunk as I am, and tell you that I think they are a success. Shit, I am really drunk. I'm going to go to bed. Regards, TC. I like art.
The draw.
So that was a drinking letter. A drunken letter.
I really like how he did the art upside down.
Yeah.
That was to show he was drunk, right? And that's the one with the exclamation, with the,
Great self-portrait.
yeah, with the, when he says I am drunk, he's got a question mark both directions to show his inability. I kind of thought I'd read all the letters. Rebecca, this is November 20th, 1974. I've been working hard all this week, drawing, paintings, writing, and drinking. Things are looking good. Jean, Susan, and I are working on some good things, but it seems that some people here in Santa Fe don't want to show or even give me a chance. These aren't gallery people, but museum people. Jean and Susan say that we don't need them anyway. Someone here or in Arizona is trying to blackball me. Envy must be the reason, or else just good taste on their part. Some more bad news. I went to this high and proper social party the other night where I got into a hellacious argument with these affluent Anglo-colonialists who hated Jews and blacks. For many years they had been friends, but when it all came down to the question of humanity, They were nothing but leeches and exploiters of the spirit of things that I have come to know as the goodness of man's soul. If it wasn't for Michael, Lord, his good friend, there would have been even an uglier scene. I cried in front of Michael after they all left. I was so weak and frustrated, not wishing to be or play the almighty interpreter of love and sin. I still get hurt so much by people like that. We had all been friends for so long. Shit far! Exclamation points. I feel good about life and how strong and weak I am anyway. At least I now am flamboyant about my feelings instead of keeping them inside my heart. Sorry to bore you with my good and bad news. None of us are going to be here that long, so I take my chances on doing what I must. Give my love to Jenny and Lynn. It seems that I never told them how much I enjoy their companionship. Also, I send my best to your daughter, Blossom. I love her too. Regards, T.C. P.S. Go to the library and read the November issue of Esquire, The Passion of Mark Rothko, and maybe you'll know where I will eventually find my eternity. Pretty cool. Now see, the people that put out that book on him, the retrospective book or whatever that I'd like for you to find, was put out by Jean and Auerbach. And he and his wife became really good friends of TC's too. He liked Susan Auerbach, the wife, and that's who helped him. They weren't museum people. They weren't connected to galleries, but they were museum people, Jean and Susan. That we don't need them anymore. See, he had that big show at Smithsonian. Probably didn't. They were telling him he didn't need those people that were going to treat him different ways.
I didn't know you had Blossom that early.
I didn't have her. She was just my dog. Blossom was there the whole time I knew TC. And then Blossom got run over when y'all were little.
That was, I mean, Blossom must have been kind of old because
Yeah,
this
she had
is
white hair.
74, and I remember Blossom would have been like 84.
Yeah, I know. I had her a long, long time. She was,
Did she get run over on Easter?
in front of all you kids.
Yeah, while we were doing Easter egg hunt in the front yard.
That's terrible.
She was just a little teeny dog, and
Yeah, couldn't pay attention.
my mother and I couldn't face the fact that she was dead. And we made my dad get aboard and take her to the vets. She was dead as a doornail.
Mhm.
It was just my mother and I couldn't face the fact that we had lost Blossom.
Yeah.
Can't believe you took a dead dog to the.
I can't believe my dad did it. He said she's dead to us, but
No,
it's a dead dog. Why don't we take her to the... But he did what we were crying about.
It's amazing how much Herb and Roz dealt with dead animals when we were kids.
Well, they
Yeah.
loved him. They just had too many.
They lived in Nichols Hills on Grand Boulevard, and they were like,
I didn't
they had
grow
like
up
a-
with
they had
money.
like-
I didn't grow up with money, though. That's the funny thing.
they had
My
like
dad had it in the
junkyard
oil
dogs.
business.
Like they had like just a pile of strays that lived in their front yard, and they would like chase cars, and they get run over constantly.
Yeah.
And Rosalind, my
They want
grandma,
them
were
to be
constantly
free.
bringing like more dogs around, and so there was like a whole dog cemetery in the backyard.
Literally, a dog cemetery.
Yeah.
Okay, this is February 7th, 1975. Rebecca, and then he has a asterisk because it's written by P. Davis. Traveling with the rodeo, it's the only life I'll ever know. I started in New Mexico, must have been 1,000 years ago. I used to be the best, they say, at riding young horses for my pay. But now I am much too old, it seems. I only ride wild horses in my dreams. Now I'm finally home again. My fireplace is all right with colors of pinyon and cedar. The stars guided me back. They were as lonesome for me as I was for them. I don't want to leave here again for a long time. I'm just sitting here trying to diffuse all the bullshit I went through in Oklahoma. Find it hard to believe. What an inspirational place it is back there. Everyone is dying quickly and loudly. Everyone is smiling as they sink slowly into the Lake Hefner. No one that I talked to was happy, except for Richard, and he alone had the balls to tell me that he knew that he would probably be sad soon. I did, however, enjoy your company as well as Jenny and Lynn's, compadres. So I'm sitting down in Santa Fe waiting for an 8 o'clock train. My woman left me there last night. Things aren't quite the same. But I didn't want people to think that in the Firestone she left out here on his own, because this ain't going to be the first time this old cowboy spent the night alone. That's written by somebody like Michael Murphy. Regards, TC. I think he changed the words of it. I just know it's not the first time this old cowboy spent the night alone.
That first quote has to be an old country song.
Yeah,
E.
because he
Davis.
signed it, that artist.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, this is exactly what we were talking about. It's so underappreciated how much music and music writing and poetry was a big part of TC's
Yeah.
entire
Well, like I said, I always felt like he was a Renaissance man with his reading, his,
playing guitar and just
yeah, all of
writing
it.
songs and poetry. It's fantastic.
And dealing with people like it says in that letter.
Yeah.
You know, he had to deal with that all the time, just like you said, that people aren't understanding. Second of May, 1975. Well, I'm going to do my best to read his French. The whole letter is in French. Yep, the whole letter. I don't know how he knew the French, and I don't know why. Rebecca, j'ai compris qu'elle était à sauver de la jour, et que le tour de bonté serait plus long et so reproductif qu'une étoile. Elle n'est pas revenue et ne reviendra jamais l'homme qui start rendez chez vous. I can't read this because I used to know French, but I
It's
really
okay,
don't.
Mom.
It's been a long time.
I mean, I used to know French. I probably could have read this at one time.
It's all right.
Did he know French?
I guess he did to write this. Je ne peux rappelle même.
We'll have to get this translated, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's funny how you literally said Renaissance man, and then here's a polyglot showing up over there.
Yeah.
You know, Soul speaks fluent French. I'm sure that she can read that perfectly.
What?
Yeah, Soul, my partner,
Oh,
speaks
good.
fluent French.
Okay.
So,
Put her to work.
yeah, we
Yeah.
can get her to work. If you want to take a snap at that, I can send it to her. And she
Yeah.
can get us a translation.
Yeah, and I know a lot of these words because I always studied French in any school I went to, or in any summer I could just take a class in it. But,
Because I can put it
you know, with
Yeah.
that Okie accent, I never could.
get you all a translation.
I had too much of an Okie accent to be not afraid to talk to people in French. I kind of understood what they said, but I couldn't speak it with my Okie accent. This is dated May 20th, 75. May 19th, 1975, Villa de Corazon Sangrado, Nuevo Mexico. Rebecca, since you've left, I have been staying at home nursing a terrible head cold and sore throat. I was feeling pretty down and out the last couple of days, though I got up at 9 a.m. this morning, cooked a breakfast of green chili with pork and tortillas, orange juice, and boysenberry yogurt. I sat out in the breakfast room and belched until 10 a.m. I got the blues for something unknown to me as I watched the mountains grow over lighter blue. Suddenly, the telephone rings nervously and Jewish-like. Susan Schwartzberg tells me good morning, soon followed by the statement that she has been thinking about me. She invites me to tea, and this afternoon at 4 I went. We sat sipping the liquids in her beautiful dining room, talking slowly and puffing on illegal cigarettes, gazing to the late afternoon sunlit patio filled with begonias and shadows of her tile-topped adobe walls. Her fingers were nimble and nervous when she asked me questions. Her eyes, grayish-green, sparkled and smiled above the rosiest cheeks that I have ever digested visually. Through her glass tabletop, I counted her toes, beautifully manicured and painted the colors of begonias, waxen and angelic. Her lips, ambrosial and sensuous in their reddish-purple innocence, grinned almost every time I shyly looked up into her eyes. I am happily lost and afraid tonight. I am 15 years old again. I am scared and jubilant as I move through my rooms this evening. Rebecca, after all of the self-pity and bitterness, I finally found out that I can really love again. Even if it doesn't work out with Miss Jerusalem, I will never labor under the lie that I am beyond loving. That was the most beautiful discovery I made today. From 7 miles away, I miss her and all the beautiful women in the world tonight, but I'm not lonely. Monsieur Canon.
He's still staying with his French.
I don't know why.
A French kicking name.
It might have been when I was in France, for all I know.
That could have been, actually. Yeah. Could have been thinking about you being out there.
Maybe. I don't know. What did he say? Jerusalem what?
My Jerusalem. Miss Jerusalem.
Miss Jerusalem. Funny.
Ever read that one?
Mm-mm. I mean, you probably read it before.
No, I didn't read these until now. I didn't want to read them or something. June 2nd, 1975. Dearest Rebecca, tonight it sprinkled on my roof for 2 minutes. I stood in the midst of it and timed it, knowing it would end before I wanted. I've been writing some very sick poetry since 7. Now it's 2, and I'm growing tired and washed out. Perhaps tomorrow will find me with more fulfilling verse and rhyme. Maybe it's because I am slowly flowing into a semi-sweet, sad reverie. I guess my affinity for beauty untamable is getting the best of me. I'll quietly suffer the retributions without vocal protest. Nothing can make me weep for any large period of time anymore, nor do I beat my breast in frustration. My sorrow is my own. My happiness belongs to everyone on the face of this too small planet. A terrible reproduction of Susan lies on the paper to the right of these words. A perfect reproduction of her face, form, matter of moving, the way she puffs on her Winstons, and all else sits fully in the depths of my mind's eye. Being very afraid of her, I rest stoned in knowing that I will never touch her in the way during my Santa Fe spring she touched me. It was a very light touch with which she accommodated me, but it will not last. My sweet sadness belongs to me alone, and so I will end this and enjoy the music in these soft brown rooms. Tomorrow I will go out into the world and bare my soul to whoever will listen to my beautiful, I will go out into the world and bare my soul to whoever will listen to my bashful answers to all of this pain that engulfs us so. Even if I fail, I will smile. Smiling is more important than the frowns of discarded unknown lovers. Good night. Respectfully, TC. Now, see, that girl is not me. That's the Swartzberg girl that was Jewish.
I was wondering, like, does she have short hair?
No, and there's another picture I think was her instead of me.
The dragonfly that just came tapping at the window.
Oh, good. This is a card by Henri Matisse, and it was and this has a Christian cross, November 26, 75, and then he has the Jewish star, which is 22. And I don't know what that word is or those numbers mean.
That's probably a Jewish calendar.
Kislev 5736, it must be. Rebecca, at this night hour in my 29th year, the snow is falling amazingly beautifully on the woodpile, red wheelbarrow, and blue-green mountain. The whole interior of the house is warmed by a blazing fireplace and a pot-bellied stove. These heavy walls are yellow from the blaze. The cat is dreamily looking up at me from the rug. Today I stood in the purple puddle of the pinyon tree shadow. Today I stood in the purple puddle of a pinyon tree shadow and looked across the earth, far, far away. Having recently taken up the theology of the misunderstood recluse, I find that I love the sound of the rooms echoing the presence of a singular presence. Word has it that in some of the dilettante circles that I am an antisocial rumor promoted by some shrewd New York art Hebrews. I despise the present day art Nazis. I despise my ignorance of all things that I have deep desire to know. I despise all the poison of the air into which we all speak and spit. I despise despite and my anger at times. I despise and despite. I can't really read this sentence. And my anger at times. I am trying to grow out of my badness, and I think I am winning the fight. Shalom, standing sun to cannon. He who stands in the sun was his name.
Mm.
They're not simple letters.
No. It's interesting to think that, yeah, that was.
Do you want to read a letter?
Yeah. Now, if I told Pablo if I break down in tears, it's just I have so much emotion. And I've been careful on all these letters before, but I don't know if I can be today.
Okay.
I hope this is a funny one.
I bet it is, at least a little.
Okay, this is February 19th, 1976, Villa de Corzon Sagnato. I'm probably not pronouncing it right.
Oh, I can't even read anything.
Okay. Rebecca, I suddenly got very bored with drawing new old wallpaper designs and cigarette butts, so I thought I'd stop and write some early New Mexico morning words to you. As of late, I have been exceedingly happy and quiet in an anxious, painterly way. New ideas and canvases confront me with hungry boldness, and I sit through one cigarette and a beer, after which I power the burning energy into the surface. My brush has been drawing a lot on the canvas. Sit back and watch it proudly, and yet half afraid of the newness of how I am rearranging my visions in two-dimensional desperado, outlaw type answers. These days, I am strongly led to the color spirit of Matisse, the line of Ingres, the soft dynamism. I can't talk. I can't even say dynamism.
Dynamic.
Dynamic. Huh?
Dynamism.
Dynamism of Manet and the weird reality of country and western music, which I have always played when I work. I enjoy the psychology of heartbreak, beer, pain, and paradoxes suggested by the music, and I think that some of the several aspects of these emotions are being presented in the new work. I didn't think it strange that I can be so happy about painting things that ring the circle of sadness. After all, I and my people are used to that sort of thing. But I'm not painting social pleadings or cries in the wilderness. I am painting situations of any human ! Black people and Jewish people know about situations. I mean real situations. I am still studying about their historic and contemporary situations, as well as reflecting on my own origins more and more these days. I am drifting further into my own ancestry these days, and I am getting new blood to shed. The mountains are beautiful now, except there isn't enough snow to get the valley turned. The mountains are beautiful now, except there isn't enough snow to get the valley through the dry summer months. I worry about the poor Mexican farmers in the lowlands. I think that they will be poor this year, and that bothers me much. I've used little wood this winter, but I always build a small fire every evening, whether I need it or not. It's more a spiritual movement than a necessity! ! Sometimes I feel guilty about my fire and my soft brown rooms. There is too much beauty here sometimes. It is a secret beauty, and I am very jealous of my oneness and am at once much too reluctant to share it with anyone. At once much too reluctant to share it with anyone. Am I sinful in desiring my solitary self and writing piss-poor poetry? I'm beginning to smile at my friends in a hermit-like manner. The dancing ladies I bring home with me are perplexed by the fact that I never promised the world. They don't realize that my heart is crippled from a lady with the executioner's smile. They don't realize that my heart is crippled from a lady with the executioner's kiss. I hope that she is happy in the wonderful world of the psyche. The transitory women in my life say that I am a coward to protect my heart so ridiculously. They compliment me how madly that I should stand in the trees forever. If I could do that, I would feel blessed. And so, tell me of your failures and successes in the land of Walt Whitman's and Dylan's Manichatta. Are you shooting lightning through the Cosmopolitan Off-Broadway Art Clicks? Are you toughing out survival in the best way you know how? You are probably keeping everyone spellbound with your crazy Texas drawl and eccentric Midwestern love of art in a more than grand style! I guess I should stop this ranting now and go to sleep. How hard that is to do sometimes. I send my best to you and yours and anyone else there that I haven't met, especially that one delicious art-minded Jewish princess that I dream of constantly. I don't even know what she looks like, but if she could learn to ride a horse and eat a green chili burrito, then maybe not all is lost for me. Regards, TC. P.S. Dear Marcia, hope you get better soon. I send my love. And that's Marcia, my best friend from high school. She and I moved to New York together. She was an art actress and I was an artist. And he loved Marcia too. He was close with my girlfriends. When he speaks of Jenny and Lynn, Jenny is still one of my best friends. Just like Marcia, we were all friends. There's 4 of us that were always friends together in UTC. And he felt really strongly and did a lot of fun things with them that I wasn't even a part of. And he always, when he says, how are Jenny and Lynn? I had a fun, they were, 2 girls were lovers, and that was even unusual to come out at that time. And TC, of course, loved both of them.
So I had a lot of support for them.
Pardon me?
Had a lot of support for them.
Oh, definitely. And that was a really good letter that TC wrote, because he did speak about his art in this letter
Yeah, he did.
a whole lot. And he didn't usually do that.
Yeah, that's unique.
Okay, this is to me on Broomstier Street when I lived in New York. And it was sent from Albuquerque on March 11, 1976.
Is Soul gonna come back here? Okay.
And he puts little birds on the outside.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Oh, cool.
Why I didn't leave my maiden name, I'll never know. I've always had lots of names. Becky, Rebecca, now it's Poppy. Oh, I love this one. I remember this one. I love the first sentence. Rebecca, there is a syrupy harmonica playing, blowing sweetly and drug-like through the pinyon trees here at the bottom of the culminating southern energy of the Rocky Mountains. Down the plateau, south of this hillside home, is nothing but promising country of cowboys, hardy women, and the ghost of Pancho Villa. The lover that kissed me last night became a maid before I awoke, and an emotionless effort changed the kitchen into a sweet-smelling room of sausages and pozole. I feel in love with her hands because she only wanted to see my eyes, which I cheated her of. Now I'm alone again, without a thigh and tit to think about, so I have spent the evening feeding the fireplace and getting near tears as I read William Soroyan. He said something about living one's life as a jocular gesture without a bookkeeper's attitude. After all, what we lose makes us sing stronger if we only realize what we lost is power that gives us the primitive, gut-striving force to continue to lose and gain again. Life in capital letters. And the spirit one feels while walking down the avenue, in your case, or strolling down the people-shadowed trees of the mountains, is all that each of us ask. We would be greedy if we wanted too much. I think we have enough, don't you, T? These are beautiful letters. I'm so sensitive today, I hear them strong.
What a way to open a letter. There is a syrupy harmonica playing,
I loved it. I just loved that whole letter. I remember that letter.
blowing sweetly and drug-like through the pinyon trees here at the bottom of the culminating southern energy of the Rocky Mountains.
Also perfect because this is the day you get to meet Sol Quicari, which literally means the Song of the Pines.
Really?
Oh.
That's his name.
Cool.
That's the feeling when I was thinking about that name.
Yeah, the whole letter has just beautiful feeling in it.
Yeah, that beautiful feeling of like that gorgeous, like you could feel the thickness of the air. You could
Yeah.
also the temperature of it.
Right. And he had such love of the beauty of the world and the people, and then the opposite was part of his personality, which is everyone's if they accept it.
Yeah.
It's interesting, in almost every letter, he references like the boundaries that he sets between him and like the women in his life,
Yeah.
like without fail.
Oh, yeah. It's all, after I got all these letters, I thought, geez, every one of them's about women that he won't show his eyes to or fall
Yeah.
in love again. But this woman that came to Oklahoma City once, which is not important. All those pieces of paper I kept at the address and stuff to go see her and meet her. Elizabeth is really who he was always in love with, or maybe it was his muse that broke his heart and he could never love again.
Yeah, I remember you talking about.
Yeah, and he and I both, when we met, we were both in heartache. So it was easy for us to relate to each other from the very beginning. But then, as I told you, one of those letters say, you are not so brittle anymore, because I was brittle over heartache, which is a funny, interesting word to say somebody's not as brittle, because I didn't know I was brittle.
I hated it.
He knew he was. He knew his pain.
I don't remember words.
Even just the way you described the woman that made him breakfast. I was like, made me want to eat breakfast.
Yeah, he probably didn't have many women making breakfast.
Well, you know, like I can totally like the word, like the way he described it, I could like imagine like exactly how the kitchen would have looked before she went in, and like how it would have looked afterwards with like, you know, a bachelor artist, you know, probably like had like crusty plates and like beer cans and like.
Guess what? It didn't.
Really?
It was always nice and neat. I barely went in the kitchen to open the refrigerator for a beer, but he kept everything real nice and neat. And, you know, his bed was always made. His rooms were very nice and neat. And it was small. And it had beautiful views. And he rented it from a really nice man that was a dentist in Santa Fe that became a painter. After TC died, he became a painter, a very good painter.
I feel like you can't live in Santa Fe without becoming a painter.
These don't go in order, do they?
These are all in order.
Oh.
Yeah, I painstakingly made sure all the dates were in order. Because you gave them to me, you're like, these are in order, and they were all out of order, and all of the envelopes were none of them matched.
Yeah, but I tried.
Oh yeah, you gave it, I mean, just the fact they were in the book, I was very impressed.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I saved them, and I thought in my sleep last week, there's one missing, and it could have been one of the very last letters he wrote me. Not unless it's in here. He was one of the main important things he did in his life was do this big mural up north somewhere or where. Do you know what I'm talking about? Some city in Native American Museum or Cultural Center. He did this enormous mural of all of Indian history.
That has to be either El George or that has to be trying to get the places that would be like important as a cultural hub for that kind of thing.
I want to say maybe someplace like Seattle. I'm not sure. I just don't know. It wasn't a
Could have been the
large.
Seattle Art Museum. Could have been the Seattle Art Museum. So
Yeah,
they
I
have
just-
a huge program for Native
Yeah,
art.
I don't know, but I remember it's, you know, a woman coming up. It's like people coming up from the earth, and it's beautiful. It's a big mural, and it seems like he was the most proud of that because, you know, he felt honored they asked him to do it.
Yeah.
He got to go up there and do the mural, and I remember him sending me a picture of it because he was so proud, and I don't have that picture. So one of these days I'm going to go through stuff again, and
Oh, you'll probably find tons of weird stuff.
well, maybe not because I put the letters away and put a tie on them and stuff. But maybe, you know, I know there's some loss because I would be out of town on most of these letters. But every time I had a chance, I just got in the car and drove to Santa Fe to see him. I felt like he needed me and I needed him. April 20th, 1976. Rebecca, I'm sitting here going quietly insane and growing frustratingly lonely and restless. I missed something tonight so great, but I'm not sure of which direction to start walking. Maybe it's because I'm drinking and picturing faraway places and remembering lines written by any number of poets and pilgrims who've done it firsthand while I just sit here and thinking about it. Just what it, capital IT, is, I don't know. But I have an inkling, and that inkling is what is fucking with my tender outlook at the present time. I should be walking in some wooded acreage in a land whose language I am deaf to, or maybe I should be striding through the fog of North Beach, intent on more wine and more conversation with that lady with green shoes and great breast. Or maybe I should be vacationing in Vienna, walking up or down the Oberdonnerstrasse, waiting for one of Hundertwasser's lovers to come and ask me if I would share her apartment, coffee, and an hour of uninterrupted Rimbaud readings. I am truly a young American in search of that fugitive universal God. Strangely enough, my reverie is accompanied by a soundtrack that is non-existent. My homesickness for places I've never been is strong tonight. T.C. P.S. Tonight the moon's the shape is similar to this. Tonight the moon's shape is similar to this. T.C. And he knew I traveled. I don't know why he never traveled. But he always said, I want you to go to Vienna. I'm going to go to Vienna sometime. I don't remember ever going to Vienna myself. Maybe I did. And I thought about him when I was there. But I don't remember being there for any length of time. I think I might have been there waiting for a train.
It's interesting to see how these pieces just come together.
Yeah, because it's his whole lifetime. Even though he only wrote a few letters to me, maybe a year.
Yeah.
They were important to me, and it kept me up with how he was. And I know we always talked on the phone. I didn't bring up the letters. I just said, thank you for the beautiful letter. That's probably all I would say to him. Or I'd say, I hope you're doing okay now. If the letter was kind of painful. And I think they were painful and beautiful at the same time. It seems like all of them were like that. They're good thoughts, bad thoughts, worry, not worry, kindness, unkindness about himself, beauty with sadness is what they seem like to me when I received them. And I knew there was nothing I could say back. He was saying it all about himself. And as you can tell, they're very kind toward me. To me, they were always very kind, that he thought of me and felt close to me, that I wouldn't judge him or he wouldn't judge me or whatever.
Well, thanks, Mom.
No, thank you. I'm glad you're here with us. Because you're learning the same stuff, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're learning my past.
I think it works.
Yeah, I can tell this is a really nice letter too. He's being more about himself and how he's feeling and what he's going through. I remember this letter. February 77, Villarreal. Rebecca Miller. And so before I go to sleep tonight, I thought I'd see if I could contact you by paper and ink, neglecting the cursed sound of the late night telephone ringing off the wall as you drowse in some cloud of illegal origin. Working daily without the recognized safety of weekends and darkness. However, I parallel this to laborious frenzy with intense relaxation among artist friends comparing outlooks on the great and minor art capitalized of the world. Ideas and songs run amok when we gather in my otherwise reclusive rooms. Much talk of freedom and mindless excursions into the fantasy of someday becoming an average person if all fails in art. Much talk and some concrete movements of building on the land and staying until the Russians or God moves us to another dimension. Much talk of staying here in this high valley till the volcanoes are reactivated and there is no need for openings and gallery directors. Good art is oozing out of my studios and eyes of certain people that know the measure of things like that here in one of the few and last bastions of holiness in the immigrant country. Much talk of art and music in these rooms when I open my cautious door. The women come and go these days. I find myself totally in limbo after a week full of one affair. I'm just taking my time, but taking, not in a hurry, refusing to get shaken by any move any woman takes these days. I feel to be finally coordinating my passions these days, I guess. All I need these days is lots of art, a substantial ration of Coors and cannabis, high moments of eroticism, country and western music, and a pardon from dealing with reality. Have to go to bed now. Regards, TC.
Another one about his art.
Huh?
Another one about his artwork.
Yeah, because he's getting, seems like when I met him, he had painted a lot. And I'll never forget, which I think is one of his best paintings, is the skeletons with beer cans and their dog tags in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember any of his paintings after that Smithsonian show until this era. And then he talked about it. And these were probably his best paintings. And he was totally into them. I don't really remember much before that, except the piece I have he did in Oklahoma City, and most of his friends have one of those pieces from that show because we could afford them. It was almost like he was leaving Oklahoma, but he was going to give us the opportunity to have his artwork. That's what it felt like.
It's a great sentence. Much talk of art and music in these rooms when I open my cautious door.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like even that last part, when I open my cautious door, would be like, that's a great, like that could be a good title for the book.
Yeah.
My cautious door.
Or when I open my cautious door,
It
my
would be.
cautious door.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful title.
And the look on his face was always,
Yeah, when I opened my cautious door, letters from T.C. Cannon. To
yeah, that's nice.
Rebecca Miller.
It's like it's very, it's like, it really kind of like embodies
Yeah.
kind of like the experience of like,
Yeah.
you know, the whole thing. I mean, including your experience of being like, okay, I'm not going to like let these out into the world until it feels like, until you've had the, you know, like you said, you felt like TC would have been okay with it.
Yeah, so you were very careful.
He was always very cautious and careful, even of a smile. It's like his smile was almost like a child's, kind of held back,
Yeah.
but it was still a smile. And when I found those photographs of Julie and I with TC in Santa Fe, he has a big smile. But he was young. It was the first time I was around him, so whatever age I met him, he was happy in that weekend with us all. I'd never seen that big smile ever again, really.
Oh, like that?
Yeah, he's smiling big. I didn't see that smile really ever again.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the most beautiful letter he wrote at the end. Okay, I think I'm ready. Rebecca, please forgive my distance and my dismissal of eye contact while you were here. It seems that I am without the impulse to be among the masses by choice. With each passing day, month, year, even I drift farther away. I have a song that is sad as a soldier's, and at the same time as gleeful as the stranger poet who drinks and laughs with the beautiful women in the near city. The shadows give me shelter. The paint gives me solutions of vision. I stay, sometimes these days, with a German lady with an immense tongue. She knows how not to hold me close and smiles at my little boy humming late at night without curbing or trying to rehabilitate. She reads me poems when I am tired from too long of days. She plays Mozart to settle my frustration. She has poems in her silence. Soon she will go away again. We are both happy in knowing that our aims do not destroy such as we. The days of winter will soon stutter and spring will manifest itself in a short time. Everything that I ever dreamed of has become a reality. I am indeed a quiet storm of that which I cannot betray. I am not tortured, cleaving with great care the soul into children of fire and ice. Those things of import, leaving only the naked message that you understand, but most wouldn't. I would wish that you and yours help me celebrate the wonderment of it all. It is best done now, before the stars and moon eat out our memories. Longano de Castro, alias TC. I just always remember that last line so much.
I would wish that you and yours help me celebrate the wonderment of it all. It is best done now before the stars and moon eat our memories.
And from then on is when he would call me in the middle of the night. And I could stay on the phone with him even though he didn't say anything, as I told you. It might be an hour of me holding the phone. And it didn't matter to me that he didn't say anything.
This is January 1978. He died May 8th, 1978.
Some months before.
Yeah.
And that's the time after that when I got the phone calls.
A little bit, 3.5 months.
In the middle of the night,
Yeah.
sound asleep, and I never did not say, I got to go.
Yeah.
It didn't matter that we talked. It was like he just needed someone on the other line. And I think it's mainly that with me, he accepted me. Does that make sense? And I accepted him totally for who he was. I didn't question anything about it. Yeah, he was my best friend. And he was my best friend. He says that in a letter, you're my best friend. That I know he did as a joke, because it was my good Nikon camera. I'd never taken pictures of refrigerators and kitchens. Never. And
So he was like taking your camera and taking pictures of fridges?
I was taking pictures of his gravesite. Don't ask me why.
TC Cannons.
Yeah, I went to his gravesite after he had died, and these showed up in the pictures. He was just a jokester.
Oh, wow.
He was the jokester.
So this is after you developed it?
Yeah, they came out with these weird stuff in them. I didn't take those pictures. I would have never taken pictures.
Do you recognize the fridge?
Never. None of this is mine.
That's crazy.
No picture would I take of that kind of stuff.
There's something on the... There's something on
like
the
a
fridge.
sign,
Yeah, like a sign.
I think that's the gravestone because I'm seeing...
No, this yellow
What?
part.
Oh.
There's like a little... But yeah, the gravestone is coming through on the fridge.
It's like somehow these films got overlapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is my... I was a photographer.
photographer.
Yeah, I was a photographer. I
Yeah.
did tons of photography. Actually, when I was in SMU, I went there because I had a really famous group of teachers there. I hated the school, but I got to be with graduate students, and I was so young.
You recognize that location in there? It's like a little tiled roof
It's a weird
house.
tile house right here.
Tile house.
You see there's a roof and a window.
Let me look on the light.
This is wild.
Well, it's a stucco kind of house with a red clay roof and with
Yeah.
this red. No, and I wouldn't have taken a picture of it. I remember my photographs because I was a photographer then. I was even told you should be a photographer instead of a painter. The teacher told me that and I said, but I don't want to be a photographer. but I'd won awards in photography.
Yeah.
And by some famous person that came in and judged the show. Of course, I don't know who it was.
This is definitely mysterious because just
He did it on
from
purpose. He was a jokester. He was doing that for a joke. Why are you taking pictures of my
grave
gravesite?
It shows some
I'm
funny
going to
things.
goof up it. I'm going to goof it up.
Yeah, because this is a single print on a Kodak
Yeah.
regular print. There's no way to do that.
Yeah, and why is it in a square like
And
this?
I don't think
Right
that
over the grave.
double negatives can go together in those machines.
And why would it
Yeah, 'cause
be?
I used to run those machines.
Yeah.
Why
this
would
is
it be square like this?
Yeah.
And, how would you make a picture square inside a picture, or rectangular, or whatever it is? So you can see the line right there.
Right, it's like through a window from inside a house or something.
Yeah, I assure you, I never took those pictures. I know what pictures I took before that on my camera. It was not that ever.
That's a great.
Well, it's funny
that's a
because
great
it
job.
even kind of like has the look of the striations and the the different patterns and flowers and clouds like that's in his work.
And
Yeah.
look at this wood thing or whatever right there. I don't know what that is.
Well, if you look, okay,
Maybe
no,
that's
that's
his
the gravesite with the palette
Paints?
and the
Oh,
paints
cool.
and some like little like ceramic bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that on when I developed those pictures. I said, "TC, you tricked me again, you jokester." Even in death, people can trick people.
Yeah, this is a great example of that. That's a fantastic image.
I've never taken a picture of a kitchen, and I never had cabinets like that.
It looks like as if somebody was just like, I need to document my new kitchen, and like it looks like the sticker from the
Kitchen
new
looks
fridge
nice,
is
yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Looks like a
that's
brand new.
Yeah, it looks like a brand new.
Like this is
Let
like
me see.
that looks like the brand
Like
that
it's a
yellow
showroom,
sticker.
like-
Oh, yeah, that's a brand new refrigerator,
Yeah.
or maybe it says something we don't know.
Yeah.
yeah,
And if we had a
I have a
magnifying glass,
magnifying glass right here.
it's the warranty.
probably. And I've never seen that house with the red tiles.
It looks like the warranty.
See, we're all laughing. He did it to make us laugh.
Yeah, that's a good joke.
And I know he did it to make me laugh, because when I opened these, I went, "TC, did you not want me to take pictures of your grave or something? You changed them to be funny."
Well, maybe it's just rather than just remembering one specific element, make it layered and complex, like your relationship.
And
with
laugh,
the
and
guy,
make me
right?
laugh.
Yeah, because like you're taking the photo to remember him, but it's like, no, this is how you remember me.
Yeah,
It's like,
I wanted you to laugh about
Yeah,
it.
it's like there's my grave, but also here's a weird picture of a refrigerator with a warranty on it.
Yeah, and I don't understand how you could put a square
Yeah, that's
inside a
So
square.
on
That
his
doesn't make
on
sense.
his gravestone it says artist, composer, poet. Was he a composer?
Oh yeah, he wrote
Like
beautiful.
music? Yeah,
He
he wrote a lot
wrote
of
beautiful
good stuff.
beautiful songs. And when we
also why a lot of the letters you see a lot of the quotes from blues singers and
Yeah.
folk singers and things like that too.
right,
He was really into music composition. That's a beautiful joke.
oh yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it was very perfect. I now see. I don't know what that means now. What?
Half. That's not the other one.
Oh.